नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्. We are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto number 9, chapter 13, verse number 12. This is the story of the dynasty coming from King Ikshvaku. And we read the story of King Nimi. So just few more things about him, because here there is not much, but this story comes in Ramayana, Mahabharata, also Vishnu Purana. So one thing is that when Vasishtha came, first of all this yajna went for a few hundred years. It was not just for a few days or few months. And second is that when Vasishtha came, at that time King Nimi was sleeping. So he was not at the Yajna-shala. He was not at the place of Yajna. Because you have to know that doing this Yajna for so much long period, it is quite tiring. Because you have to follow very strict regimen. You have to take a special diksha for yajna. That's why you have to tie this thread in the hand. You might have seen in India they still do it. So that is called Sankalpa Sutra. Means you take a sankalpa, and in that time you cannot take weapon, you cannot tell lies or harm somebody, get angry. All these things are not allowed. It's more like a tapasvi life, very austere life, special diet, and then you have to be there for hours sitting, and then after that there is distribution of food and giving charity. All this king has to do all that. So when he came, that time he was sleeping, and that was also more disturbing to him. Because he asked for it, it must have been. There it is only said that he was sleeping, but I was thinking when he comes and then he sees all this big arrangement, and then he says, "Where is Nimi?" "Oh, Nimi is sleeping." So he must have gotten angry. So he actually cursed him in his absence.
But he comes back in the 11th canto also. Nimi comes back.
Well, that is, comes back doesn't mean that he is coming. This is a different story. It must have been before he became like that. It's not the Nimi after curse. After all, it is described there that he is Adhyatma Kovida, that he was very spiritually oriented, and that you can see from 11th canto that he is having talk with these Navayogendras, which is all spiritual talk. So he was spiritually oriented very much, but still, unless one is fully devoted, then you can understand that dharmic people also have these problems of getting angry. Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha. The solution for this is only bhakti. As long as one has got their ahankara, which obviously kings have, and if you are doing big dharmic activities, then you have big ahankara. And then ahankara also is for dharmic activities. Those people who may name you here, for example, you hear about Harishchandra, at least in India, he is known as Satyavadi Harishchandra, right? Everybody in India knows Satyavadi Harishchandra, means a very truthful person, because for keeping his word he underwent so much trouble that he gave up his kingdom, he sold his wife, his son was dead, still he was, sticking to his dharma. But then you see the story in Bhagavatam about him. There he doesn't seem like truthful person at all. Right? He got this boon from Varuna. The story already came to get a son. Right? And Varuna said, yes, you will have, but then you have to sacrifice the son for me. So when the time came, he got a son, and when he came for sacrificing, he gave some excuse. He says, oh, let him have teeth. He's just a boy, does not have teeth yet, and what is the point in sacrificing? And then when he grew up, then he gave another excuse. Finally, he sent him to the forest, and ultimately he bought a son of a Brahmana, Shunashrepa, to sacrifice, so that he does not have to sacrifice his own son, and Vishwamitra has to intervene. So now this person who is known as Satyavadi, he is doing all this. So then what type of Satyavadi is he? So the thing is that dharma and ahankara many times go together. So then you have the ahankara that I am Satyavadi and I will do anything to protect my ahankara. But if ahankara is not at stake, then I can do also adharma. If nobody is observing me, when he did this yajna and he gave everything in charity to Vishwamitra, because he also came in the lineage of kings whose guru was Vasishtha, and Vishwamitra and Vasishtha had enmity, so that's why Vishwamitra came to trouble him. It was actually problem between Vishwamitra and Vasishtha which put Harishchandra into trouble. So the thing is that many times people are dharmic for ahankara, for show. So that is what, as Krishna says, that it is a rajasic yajna. When he talks about yajna or dan, so which is given for some show, for name and fame, then it is rajasic. So this is, we see that even great people like Nimi, then he is, after all, why is he cursing? Out of ahankara only. There is no other reason to curse Vasishtha. Okay, Vasishtha makes a mistake and then you do the same thing. Then how are you better than Vasishtha? If you make mistake and you get, if I make a mistake and you get angry at me and you curse me, and then I say, oh, you're being unreasonable, and I get angry and I curse you, then how am I better than you? I'm actually belong to the same level. So this is what we see, that Nimi also came down to the level of Vasishtha, even if he was elevated and he was qualified for giving yajna, curse, but it is not a proper action. So it is inspired by his ahankara. So this ahankara can go only by bhakti, because only bhakta is the one who has dasoham, this abhiman, that I am servant, trinadapi sunichena. Otherwise everything you do dharmic, that feeds your ahankara. If you are very charitable, then you have the ahankara, I am charitable. Like Karna. So he is called Danvir Karna. So he also has that ahankara. See, yes, he is Danvir, but he also has the ego of being a Danvir. So this is to be seen that the solution to these problems comes only in bhakti. Otherwise you cannot get rid of this. Ahankara is a very interesting phenomenon. It keeps coming up all the time. No matter what you do, then it stands up again. You put it down, it stands up again. So unless you take to bhakti properly, Then Gyanis, Karmis, they all have. So Bhagavatam is trying to show that. So although he is called here as Adhyatma Kovida, so he actually has the virus of Adhyatma. Right? He has the Covid, Adhyatma Covid. Right?
Babaji, I had a question.
Yes.
The question is that when Arjuna was fighting, or was refusing to fight, then he was making a case that, well, they are here to fight, but why should I go down onto their level? That I should not fight, even though they have come to fight, even though they are wicked-minded. Now here, it's the opposite. Here, what you're saying is that he should not have cursed back and gone down to his level. So how do we understand when to and when not to?
So that's why you have to see whether you are doing it for the sake of Krishna or are you doing sake of your ahankara. Whether you fight, you can fight out of ahankara, and you also may not fight out of ahankara. You can plunder others out of ahankara, and you can be very charitable out of ahankara. So this is the whole thing. I have spoken many times that this mixture of dharma and adharma, and inside is adharma, but it is coated with dharma, then it is very difficult to figure out which one is which. So adharmic people, they try to coat themselves with dharma, because adharma is something which people do not appreciate. And dharmic people, your dharma is appreciated when you actually show it. If you don't show your dharma, then nobody knows that you're dharmic. So then you make a show of it, and that's where the dharma comes. Right? Dambha. Dambha, darpa. Dambha actually means a show. Dambha, darpa, abhimanascha, krodha, parushya, mevacha. This is the asuric nature Krishna describes in Bhagavad Gita. So dharmic people, if they have the dambha, or they want to make a show, and they have the abhiman, then this is also problematic. It may be sattvic and it looks good, but it also backfires, as it happened in case of Nimi. So then you can see that how Parikshit, he acted when he heard that he has been cursed. Nimi was also cursed in absence. Parikshit was also cursed in absence. But the reaction is different. So then when Nimi woke up, he saw a change in himself. He realized that his body doesn't seem to function. Then he came to know. So then the other question which Malati asked was that according to Ramayana, at least Vasishtha is described to have Vayu Bhuta Sharira, airy body. Because he went to Brahma after he was cursed by Nimi and his body dropped, then he went to Brahma. So there it is said that Vayu Bhuta Sharira, that his body was airy. So it's some sort of body, because he was able to communicate. Obviously he was not communicating like earthly body, and he could not function like us, but he did have some body. He was not bodiless, did not have Parthiv Sharira. So there are different types of bodies also. So similarly Nimi also must have had something we can understand. So it's an interesting story, Nimi. Yes.
When Vasishtha asked to Nimi to wait Then in the mind of Nimi, you said that he
Yeah, Nimi, because he knew that this fellow is gone for a few hundred years. Obviously, Nimi is not some foolish person. He knows that he is going to Indra's place. He is not coming back for a few hundred years. So he did not want to wait that long. And then this yajna he was doing for the welfare of people. It's not that he has something to achieve for his just personal benefit. Because Sahayagya Prajasrestva Puravacha Prajapati, Krishna says that I created yajna in the beginning. Right? And then Prajapati said after creating that you should perform this for your welfare. Deva bhavetanena te deva bhaveyantuva parasparam bhavayanta shreya param avapshata. So parama shreya, the ultimate welfare, will come from this yajna. So he was doing yajna for the welfare of the kingdom because he is a king and that is his duty to bring welfare. So that's why he was very wary of waiting that long. So he went and he chose Gautama Rishi as the chief priest and other brahmanas are working under him, and he started it. So it was already going on for a long time. Obviously, he would have started not long after Vasishtha left. And if Vasishtha went into heaven and he came back, so it must be a very long period. That's why it is called a satra. So even the sages in Naimisaranya, they were doing satra for 1,000 years. Sahasram samamasata. Satram sargaya lokaya sahasram samamasata. They were doing yajna for 1,000 years.
So then, basically from the king's point of view, from the duty of a king, it was not a mistake.
Yeah, it was not a mistake, but it just depends how you take it. Sometimes it is not enough not to make a mistake. It is also needed that you make sure that other people don't misunderstand you. Sometimes you hear people saying, well, I'm not wrong, so why shall I care? No, it is not like that. You are not wrong, but other people think you are wrong, then what will you do? You cannot stop them from acting. And then you cannot say, well, why are they doing like this? I'm not wrong. So it is not sufficient just to say I'm not wrong. Not only that you are not wrong, but others should not perceive you wrong, because if they perceive you wrong, you are still in trouble. Okay, you are not in trouble because of the karma point of view and from your own satisfaction. But you live in a society and they can create so much trouble for you if they perceive you wrong. So it is also very important that you are not misunderstood. That's why Krishna has to do all this when this Syamantak Mani problem came. He could have said, well, I've not done anything, so let people talk about it. Why he took all the trouble? He was fighting for 27 days with Jamban inside the cave without eating and drinking. And then his so-called his devotees, they put a big stone piece and came home. So he can, if he was not strong enough, he will die inside. So why did he go through this problem? Because people were misunderstanding him. And it was not good. Why Lord Ramachandra went through so much trouble? Which is all the time criticism. He abandoned Sita. Why did he do that? He was not wrong. Sita was not wrong. So he could have said, well, let these people talk whatever they talk, I don't care. After all, he is king. So although we talk Ram Rajya and it is wonderful and great, but even in Ram Rajya there were people who were criticizing him, and he has to he worried about them. And he took such a drastic step of giving up his own beloved wife. It's not that he did not love her. If he was already thinking to drop her, then it was a good opportunity. But that was not the case. So it is important to consider all these things. Especially if you are in a position where you influence other people, then it is even more important. If you are by yourself and okay, whatever people came, they will still cause trouble to you, but at least you are not influencing their life, because you are somebody who is looked after as an ideal person, or somebody people take as an example. So that's why Krishna has to take care. Ramachandra has to do that. So these stories are interesting to learn all this. Okay, anything else on this Nimi?
Do we know what age Vasishtha was at this time? Do we know what age he was? Because he's the last sage you'd expect to curse a king to death. When you read about him in different events, he was very forgiving and forbearing, and he had a Surali cow. He didn't seem to be somebody who would be very worried about having two jobs at the same time and losing one. It makes the story very interesting.
I don't know the age, there's nothing mentioned here. But he was already a sage. He was Kulguru.
Yeah.
And Nimi is son of Ikshvaku, right? And Ikshvaku is son of Manu, so he must have been already, he was not a young fellow.
It was just not typical of his usual behavior.
May not be typical, but it teaches us something. Otherwise, when you see him in relationship with Vishwamitra, he is very tolerant. Vishwamitra finished his 100 sons. He did not curse him. But here, for a small thing, he cursed Nimi. So we have to see this, that how ahankara can work, basically. All is that his ahankara was bruised. So in case of Vishwamitra, he did not do anything. But here Nimi is his own disciple, and he told him to wait, and he did not wait, so this was beyond his tolerance limit. And who knows that maybe in case of Vishwamitra, ahankara is working in another way. You see, ahankara can work in both ways. You can, ahankara, that's exactly what I am saying. You can become a very, very dharmic because you want to protect your ahankara as a dharmic person, as a tolerant person. And ahankara can work this way. He did not care for that. He just wanted to show I am somebody who can curse king like Nimi. And then Nimi says, okay, I am also Kshatriya, I will fight back. So he also threw another arrow. It's called Vagban, the arrow of speech. So natathat vidyate banai marmantakai sumarmagai tikshnai sumarmagai. Alright, so now it says that arajak bhayam nirnam manyamana maharshayah deham mamanthu sma nimehe kumara samjayat. So I think this we read already. Anyway, so the sages, they churn the body. So this is another way. Yesterday Tanmay ji was asking how is this, that Vasishtha and Nimi, Agastya were born without mother. Here also he is born without mother. And there is no even semen involved here. They just chant the body. And a young boy was born, Mamanthu, that's what he was called. Janmana Janaka. He was called Janaka because he was born without father or mother. Or he was called Janaka because he was born only from father. Because Janaka also means father. And he was called Vedeha because he was born from father who has no body. Right? Father is already gone. Just the body. Body is not the father. So it's difficult to figure out now who is father. Is the body father or the guy who left from the body is father? Whose son is he? So therefore they call him Vedeha, and he is called Mithi or Mithila because he came out by churning. He has these three names. Tasmad Udvasu Tasya Putro Bhut Nandi Vardhana Tatah Suketus Tasyapi Devarato Mahipate. So now there is a big list of kings again. So from him came the son Udvasu. Okay? And from Udvasu came Nandivardhan. From Nandivardhan came Suketu. And from Suketu came Devarata. So who is Devarata? Anybody knows? There is famous Devarata. Right. And then Tasmad Brihad Rathastasya Mahavirya Srudhit Pita Sudhriter Dhrishketurvai Haryasvat Marustata. So from Devrata came Brihadratha, and from Brihadratha came Mahavirya. From Mahavirya came Sudhriti. From Sudhriti came Dhrishtaketu. From Dhrishtaketu came Haryashva. Haryashvas were also sons of Daksha. You remember? Bhishma is actually Devrata, not Devrata. It's Parikshit who is called Vishnurata, sometimes Devrata. Bhishma is actually Devrata. And then from Haryashva came Maru.
Babaji,
Yes.
Babaji, the Mahavir that is referred to in this verse, is it the same Mahavir that Jain religion worships, so it's different?
No, he is not the same Mahavir. First of all, he is Mahavirya, not Mahavir. And he is not, that is different, that Mahavir. That Mahavir came in Kali Yuga. Or maybe, he was in Kali Yuga. He was contemporary of Buddha. This is much before. This is in Treta Yuga. So then from Maru came Pratipak, and from him came Kritiratha, and from Kritiratha came Devamidha, and from Devridha came Vishruta, and from Vishruta came Mahadhriti. So there's hardly any comment on this. So then comes कृतिरातस्ततस्तस्मान् महारोमाश्च तत्सुत स्वर्णरोमा सुतस्तस्य हृष्वरोमा विजायते. From Mahadhriti came Kritirata, and from Kritirata came Maharoma, and from Maharoma came Swarnaroma, and from Swarnaroma came Hrishwaroma. Roma. Italian. So Maharoma means who has long hair. Swarnaroma means who has got blonde, golden hair. He was a blondie. And then came Hrishwaroma, who has short hair. So all their names are related to Roma. Roma means hair. हाँ तो रोम ये तो हेयर ही है, उसको क्या बोला मैं, उसको हेयर नहीं कहते. संस्कृत में तो अलग अलग नाम है. In Sanskrit you have different names for different hair. For the head hair you have Kesha, for the body hair you have Roma.
Did you say blonde hair? Blonde, so that means so there were people who had.
Yeah, sometimes. Or maybe he died. These days people die in India also.
Narada Muni is also somewhere described as having golden hair. I think the first canto.
Maybe he died also. Natural die.
धूप में घूमने से नेचुरल होगा.
हाँ ज़्यादा धूप लगे तो बोलना. Okay. So now comes another very important king. So he says, Tataha Siradhvajo Jagye Yagyartham Karshato Mahim Sita Siragrato Jata Tasmat Siradhvaja Smrita. So from that Hrishwaroma came a king whose name was Siradhvaja. So Siradhvaja is the father of Sita Devi. So Sira means plow. So he plowed the land because he did a yagya, and for yagya he has to plow the land with golden plow. And when he was plowing, there was a pot which came out, and he said, "What is this?" He went and he picked up the pot, and there was this most beautiful baby girl inside the pot. So that was named as Sita. Sita means this line which you make if you plow the land, it makes a, what is it called? Furrow. So that's what Sita means. Sita means furrow, and Sira means plow. So therefore he is called Siradhvaja. I think Balram is called Sirapani sometimes, because he carries also plow. He is the agricultural minister. So this is how Sita came about. Then Kushadhvaja tasya putras tato dharmadhvajo nripa. Dharmadhvajasya dau putrau Kritodhvaja amitadhvajo. Then Sirdhvaja's son's name was Kushadhvaja, and Kushadhvaja's name was Dharmadhvaja. So some of these kings are described in more detail in Mahabharata. And Dharmadhvaja had two sons, Kritadhvaja and Mitadhvaja. And there was a problem between these two. So Kritadhvajat Keshidhvaja Khandikyastu Mitadhvajat. So Kritadhvaja's son was Keshidhvaja, and Mitadhvaja's son was Khandikya. Then Kritadhvaja Suto Rajan Atma Vidya Visharada Khandikya Karma Tattagyo Bhita Keshidhvajat Druta. So this Keshidhwaja, who was son of Kritadhwaja, he was Atma Vidya Visarada. He was a knower of spiritual knowledge, like Nimi. Nimi was called Adhyatma Kovida. He is also called here as Atma Vidya Visharada. And Khandikya was very expert in Karma Mimansa, Karma Tattvagya. Means doing all the yagyas and rituals. Purmimansa. He was expert in Purmimansa and the other one was expert in Uttarmimansa. So they had problem with each other. Just like Purmimansakas have problem with Vedantis. They're always fighting. So Khandikya, he ran away out of fear of this Keshidhwaja. So this Keshidhwaja, he attacked Khandikya and he took away his kingdom. So Khandikya, he ran away to forest, as it is described. Khandikya karma tattvagyo bhita Keshidhwajadruta. So he ran away. So of course Karma Mimamsa runs away from Vedanta. Athato Brahma Jigyasa. Brahma Jigyasa now, when Karma Mimamsa has been refuted. So once this Keshidhwaja, he did a yagya. And when he did yagya means yagya was going on. So there was a cow whose milk was being used for doing the yagya, and the yagya used to go for many days, sometimes months. Then one day when the cow was in the forest, a lion attacked her and killed her. So this was a big obstacle in the yagya. So now Keshidhwaja, he has to do Prayaschitta. So Prayaschitta is a very important part of Karma Kanda, Karma Mimamsa. Because there in Karma Mimamsa everything has to be performed very meticulously according to the injunction of the Vedas. And if some lacuna happens, then you have to do Prayaschitta to fulfill that, otherwise you don't get Adrishta. So he asked the Brahmanas that now that cow is dead, so what is the Prayaschitta? So now this is obviously something very unusual. Not Prayaschitta also has to be done exactly how it is described in Shastra. You cannot just do anything and say this is the Prayaschitta. The whole thing about Karma Mimamsa is following the injunction. It is very much according to the Vidhi, it is absolutely Vedhi. So nobody could figure out. So the Brahmanas, they suggested that you go to this sage Kasheru, maybe he can help because he is supposed to be very learned in this field. So he went to this sage and he explained to him what has happened, and he says, please tell me what is to be done. So he said, I don't know really, I have never come across such a situation, I have never read anything like this. I cannot help you, but maybe you go to Gautama Rishi, he will help you, because he is also very good. So he went to Gautama, and then he explained that my cow has been killed by a lion in the forest. So what is to be done now? What kind of Prayaschitta is to be performed? I have to complete this yagya, otherwise it will all go waste. So he also deliberated, consulted with other people and could not come to any conclusion. So So he said there is only one person who can help you, and that is your own brother Khandikya. So he lives here nearby in the forest. You can approach him. So, marta kya na karta. So now what can be done? When you have a need, then you have to approach even your enemy. So he's not dressed as a king now. Obviously he's in the dress of a Yajnaka, Yajman, those who perform yajna. He has mrigcharm, skin of the deer on his body. He's holding kosha in his hand, Kamantlu in another one, and he's going to Khandikya's ashram. So Khandikya saw him, and he immediately got very angry. He said, "This rascal is coming here, he has taken away my kingdom." So he ran inside, although he was living more like a sage, but he still has his bow and arrow. So he brought it out and he said, "Today I will finish him." So when he came out, then he saw Kusadhwaja. He's standing there with folding hand. He says, "What do you want?" So he said, "I have not come here to fight with you. You can see that I'm not in the warrior dress. So please keep your bow away. And I have a problem." So he said, "What is the problem?" So he said that my cow has been killed. Now I have to do some prashchitta, you suggest me. And then once my prashchitta is over, then I will, give you dakshina. So Khandikya suggested him what is to be done. And he came and he performed his yajna, and then he gave charity at the end of the yajna. And then he thought that, well, now I must go back to Khandikya and also give him dakshina, because without him it would not have been completed. So he came back and then he gave him respect and he says, "Please tell me what dakshina you want. Whatever you ask for, I will give if it is within my capacity." So he was thinking that maybe he will ask for his kingdom back or something. So he consulted with his associates and they all said, "Well, now you take the kingdom back. This is a good chance for you." So Khandikya came to him and he said, "If you want to give me dakshina, then give me your spiritual knowledge." He says, "I already had this kingdom and look what trouble I went through. You are my brother, I became enemy because of that. Right? Arthasya sadhane siddhe. There are 15 defects in wealth. So he says, this I don't want. What is the use of getting something temporary? So you give me spiritual knowledge so that I become free from bondage of karma." So then Keshidhwaja gave him spiritual instructions. So ultimately, his karma kanda also helped him to get spiritual knowledge. So that is described stories in Mahabharata. So Khandikya karma tattagyo bhita Keshidhwajadruta Bhanuman tasya putro abhut Chatdrumnastu tatsuta. So then from Keshidhwaja's son was Bhanuman, and Bhanuman's putra was Sadyumna. Suchistanayastasmat Sanadvajastato bhavat Urdhvaketu Sanadvajad Ajoat Purujit Sutta. So from Sadyumna was born Shuchi, and from Shuchi was born Sanadvaj. From Sanadvaj was born Urdhvaketu. From Urdhvaketu came Aja. And from Aja came Purujit. And Arish name is Tasyapi Shrutayus Tat Suparshvaka Tataschitra Rathoyasya Kshemadhir Mithiladhipa. And then from him came Shrutayu. From Purujit came Arishnemi. From Arishnemi came Shrutayu. From Shrutayu came Suparshvaka. And from Suparshvaka came Chitrath. And from Chitrath came Kshemadhi. Tasmat samrathastasya sutta saptarathastata asid upgarus tasmad upgupto agni sambhava. And then from Kshemadhi came Samaratha. From Samaratha came Satyaratha. From Satyaratha came Upguru. And from Upguru came Upgupta. And this Upgupta is supposed to be a part of Agni, Agni Sambhava. And Vashwanantot Tatputro Yudho Yat Subhashanah Shrutas Tato Jayas Tasmad Vijayasmad Ritah Sutta. And then from that came Vashwanta. And from Vashwanta came Yuyudha. And from Yuyudha came Subhashana. And from Subhashana came Shruta. And from Shruta came Jaya. And from Jaya came Vijaya. And from Vijaya came Rita. And Sunkas tat suto jagge viti havyo dhritis tate bahulasvo dhritis tasya kirtirasya mahavashi. Then from Rita came Shunaka, and Sunaka came Viti Havya, and Viti Havya was father of Dhriti, and Dhriti gave birth to Bahulashva, and Bahulashva gave birth to Kriti, and Kriti to Mahavashi. Ete vai Mithila Rajan Atma Vidya Visharadaha Yogeshwara Prasadena Dvandir Mukta Griheshvapi. So he says that these are the kings who came in the dynasty of that Mithila or original Janaka Vadeha. And they are all known as Mathila, and they all were very spiritually elevated people, although they were in their family life. They were free from the dualities, Dvandvi Mukta Griheshvapi, by the grace of Yogeshwaras. So he says Yogeshwara Prasadena. So Yogeshwara means that the great sages, great kings like Yagyavalkya, they came. Sridhar Swami writes there that Yogeshwara here refers to people like Yagyavalkya. So the story of Yagyavalkya and Janaka comes in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad also. It's a famous story that these kings, they used to invite scholars to their kingdom, have debates, sometimes have competition. So once King Janaka, he has invited many sages to his kingdom, and then he got like 10,000 cows, all very nicely decorated and with gold on their horns, And then he announced that anyone who thinks that he is the best scholar can take this course. So all the Brahmanas, they were sitting there and they were looking at each other. Because they know that anyone who stands up, then all others are going to tear him apart. He says, how dare you can do that? You have to debate with us. So nobody dared to do anything. So finally Yajnavalkya, he got up and he told his brahmachari disciples, said, chalo, take all the cows to Goshala. We have plenty of bhusa stored. No problem. We have a lot of milk. So when he did that, then so many people, they stood up. He says, how can you do this? How can you do this? You have to answer our questions. So one by one they asked questions and he was answering them. And finally this Vachkanavi Gargi, she stands up and she has a debate with him. So Yajnavalkya, he wins and he takes away the cows. So cow was considered as wealth in the olden days. It was called Godhana, the wealth. So cows, horses, elephants, and gold and land. That was the wealth. No plastic money. So this is the end of the description of the dynasty from King Nimi up to Mahavashi. And this is also the end of this chapter. Iti Srimad Bhagavate Mahapurane Paramhansyam Sanghitayam Navama Skandhe Nimi Vanshava Anuvarnanam Nam Trayodashodhyaya. So we'll stop here if there is any question.
Babaji, you mentioned earlier on that there's 15 defects in wealth.
Yes.
Can you explain some of them?
Well, first of all, he says, Arthasya sadhane siddhe. First of all, you have to work hard. I'm sure you know that part. So wealth doesn't come easy, at least for most people. You have to work very hard for it. So hard that you can lose your health. Right? It happens to many people, they make wealth, but then in the process they lose health, and then they have to spend wealth to maintain their health. So by the time you make wealth, then you are diabetic, you have high blood pressure, right? And you have insomnia. So you live on soup now. So that is the first problem. And then once you have it, then arthasya sadhane siddhe, then you have to protect it. Because besides people, this and that, first of all, there are legal plunderers who want to take it. They have the right to take your property, to tax it in whichever way they can. Property tax, sales tax, income tax, everywhere tax. So everybody works hard how not to pay the tax. There is nobody who gives tax happily. It doesn't matter if you are billionaire or millionaire. Everyone has got some technique or tries to figure out some technique how to avoid. There is nobody who gives tax happily. So that means it is a trouble. If you go on the highway, you have to pay tax. If you go to the supermarket, you have to pay tax. and then you have to pay for insurance, health insurance, fire insurance, car insurance. These are also all type of taxes. Most of the time you don't make use of them. So these are the visible effects. Then there are, defects. Then invisible ones are there. You become proud. You have the fear. You have the anxiety. Once you have money, you have to think what to do. You are not peaceful. Sometimes you are more peaceful when you don't have money than when you have it. So these are described, the whole story of Nal and Kubara. Get addicted, drinking wine, women, or opposite sex, whatever, drugs, all types of addictions. So these are what described there. Anything else? Yes.
I have two questions on the story about the two brothers from Mahabharata. This Prayashita was the main reason to do that because he was responsible for the cow and the cow has been killed under his care? Or was it that the yagya was disturbed? He couldn't continue with the yagya?
No, yagya has to be done. When you do yagya, then it was fixed that I'm going to use this cow. So that cow's milk was to be used. Now that cow is not there. So there are very precise specifications for doing yagya. So that was the problem.
And so, if I understood correctly, one brother represents Karmakanda and the other one Vedanta. So the one who did the yagya was Karmakandi? And
No. The one who advised him what to do the prayaschitta, he was the expert in Karmakanda.
Okay, so he was the expert and he was the one who gave the spiritual knowledge.
No, then he gave the spiritual knowledge, one who was doing the yagya, to the one who advised how to do the prayaschitta.
So the Vedantin gave them, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay.
Babaji Maharaj?
Hanji.
I have two questions. So first was regarding this birth of Sita ji. Like from the plow that she got birth. Is the same like from a pot or from fire? Is the same thing like from, or why is it specifically mentioned that his father's name became Shiradhwaja?
Because he was plowing and he got a beautiful daughter. So this must be a very special plow, Sira. So he got that name, Shiradhwaja. He became glorious. Dhwaja means flag. Flag means sign of glory, right? Victory. So he became glorious because of Sita. So that's why
Is this birth same like being born from fire or from a pot? Is this same, something like that, similar?
She is an eternal person, so she just manifested there. It's like Krishna says, Janma Karam Cha Me Divyam. So it is more Aishwarya birth, not so much of Naralila. Divine birth.
And second question was regarding this giving of spiritual knowledge. So is it like that he accepted him as his guru, then only the spiritual knowledge can be given, or was it some telepathic kind of transfer?
Not telepathic, he actually studied from him.
Basically he's taking him as his guru.
Well, in this particular case, it was actually dakshina to him. So it's a special thing. He's saying that you want to give me dakshina, and dakshina is given not to somebody who is lower than you, it's given to somebody whom you honor. So he says, well, if you want to give me dakshina of spiritual knowledge. So you can say he accepted him as a guru, but the guru is also giving him dakshina.
That way both are becoming like guru, because you give dakshina to guru, and so he is also, both are becoming guru for each other.
Yeah, because the one is guru for karma mimamsa, there is guru for Vedanta. So they are exchanging their expertise. So there are different ways of gaining knowledge. So it is said that you gain knowledge by doing service, you can gain knowledge by giving money, you can gain knowledge by giving knowledge, exchanging knowledge. So this is an example of that. Yes, Ladli.
Quick question, what does prachita mean, please?
Prashchita means atonement. It means when you are performing some religious act and if you make a mistake, so to fulfill or to rectify that mistake, you have to perform special ritual that is called prashchita. Okay. All right.